Hey guys, I just wanted to uh, give a little bit of commentary on this game. A lot of times I put up a video playing a game on Hecarim, and you get to see the plays, but you don't really understand, or you might not understand what my thought process is as I'm playing. Um, so this game will be available without commentary if you'd just like to watch the game itself, or I'll also be recording, kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing in this video here. So we start off. Normally, I like to get a red trinket, but in this case against Shaco, I thought it was a better idea to start with yellow, just to make sure that I can figure out where he's going. I wanted to make sure he didn't steal my buffs. So we go for a little bit of an early invade, but we don't get a kill right away, and a lot of times chasing into an invade, especially undermanned, because Scion went top and Beager didn't come immediately, we didn't want to go too deep, because that's an easy way to give up a kill and give up the advantage that we were trying to gain. So I'll just quickly go back, get some health, and we'll get started.
Minions have spawned.
So you'll notice that I'm starting Gromp, and the ability that I took, even for the invade, was my W, Spirit of Dread, I think it's called. So, especially with the new changes to Hecarim, they actually increased the healing cap that he's allowed to have. So it's actually really useful to grab early on. You'll see I use my W and then I smite while that is still active, and that brings me right up to that healing cap. And it's not a ton of health. I think it's 90 health total. Might have to check that, but 90 health. That's a fair amount of a health potion. You're almost getting a full health potion back, just because you timed your smite correctly. And then I'll use the W again on blue buff when it comes up. One thing to note is when you are using W in the jungle, you want to already have at least one Q. You want to have already used Q at least once. And that's because if you look at the passive on Hecarim's Q, if it hits within a window of time, the cooldown of it is actually reduced a little bit. So if you've already hit it once, then you can get 2 Qs in while the W is up instead of just one. So that's just something to again, maximize the healing that you can do. Once again, get to red buff, smite the red buff with my W up. The smiting the red buff gives you health, and then smiting with W up also gives you health. And then I go for a gank on mid. Lissandra's pretty pushed up. I thought we'd have a good chance. Thought I pushed her into tower range, honestly, but apparently I didn't. Me and Vigo chase a little bit too hard, and Shaco comes up. I get ignited, and I know that's not a good thing. So I start to run away. Not a whole lot I can do. I wasn't going to catch Lissandra. I could have died to Vigo and lost double buffs, or Shaco and lost double buffs. That would have been a terrible start. So I just go back, get as much experience as I can from the lane without putting myself in danger. And then I noticed that Shaco was still chasing Vigo, so I wanted to go there and kind of scare him off, make sure that Shaco didn't get first blood. A lot of times, if you're asked to cover a lane, it's really not all that important to cover a lane. It's not like the minions are going to kill the tower right away. But it can be a great way to get ahead on experience, and getting to level 6 early on and getting ahead of the laners that you're ganking is really important. It can boost your damage. If you have your ult and the other team isn't expecting it, you can get off a good gank, especially bot lane. You can pick off a double kill or something. So anytime you have a chance to pick up some experience, even if you are low and you don't think you can actually kill the minions because the laner might kill you, if you just stand there, you'll get experience, and that's never a bad thing. So in this case, I tried to get on Lissandra again. I know that Vigo has a pretty good stun, and I wanted to get him ahead. I figured if we could get him ahead, he would be able to take care of the enemy AD carry, and I could focus on Shaco and Aurelia. But the ganks weren't really working out, so it's just. But we did force her out of lane, so he's not getting any kills, but he's getting some experience, maybe some gold. And Lissandra, I don't know the mid matchup too well, but I would imagine Lissandra isn't a very good matchup for Viger. So any help he can get is gonna be beneficial. I kind of left top alone, basically throughout this game. I don't think Scion had a ton of kill potential on Aurelia. I also didn't think that getting him ahead was going to be particularly useful for our team. Like, it's nice to have a tanky Scion, but I thought it was more important to get Viger and Graves ahead, or at least even with their lanes. So I kill the little Scuttle Crab. Oftentimes I do that just for the vision, but it is nice that it gives you a speed boost in case there's any fights and skirmishes in the mid lane, or in the middle of the jungle. Go ahead and gank bot lane. We pick up Sivir, but then we get rotated on pretty hard, and we weren't expecting that. I run out of mana, which is the only reason Shaco lived. I was a little unhappy about that. But we still go 1-for-0, I believe. Can't get Braum here. If I had the mana, I probably could have killed him. I tried smiting him, but I couldn't get the damage down. But that's fine. So we got, I believe, Graves a kill, and he's going to be able to pick up some farm. Lissandra roamed all the way bot before Viger even noticed, which was a little bit unfortunate, because what he should have done was either come with her, and then we probably could have gotten 2 or 3 kills instead of just 1, or stayed mid and just picked up farm and gold. That way he could, exert a lead on her later in the game. But at this point, we are about 7 minutes into the game, so I know my blue buff will be coming up soon. I don't really like to smite blue if I can help it. I don't think getting the mana is all that helpful. Like, it's nice to kill it faster, but on Hecarim, the mana isn't really all that important. Once you get blue buff, you have mana regen, so I don't think getting that 20% of max mana right away is all that helpful. So I usually stick to smiting with Rump. I don't smite wolves in my own jungle almost ever. Like, unless I'm going back, I never smite wolves in my own jungle. I always smite wolves in the enemy jungle, because that's basically like having a roaming ward in their jungle. But I don't think it's all that good to smite in your own jungle, at least on Hecarim. Like, I'm not planning on fighting Shaco in my jungle, but if he shows up, I don't really have a problem with it. When he goes invisible, I can just hit him with 2 of my 3 abilities. So if he shows up, I'll fight him, but I'm not looking for a fight. I'm not looking to actively avoid him either. So I pick up the blue buff. At this point, I really wanted to get level 6. I knew that if I could do that, I could get off a good gank either mid or bot. And I saw Shaco at one point. We had a ward at their rates. I saw Shaco going to his red. I was hoping to kill him, but it turns out when I got there, he had a lot of health, and he had just finished red, so I decided to back off. I didn't think it was the greatest idea to fight him. And it's probably a good thing I didn't, because even if I had killed him, I probably would have gotten killed by Lissandra or their bot lane. So I was thinking, if he was low, I could smite his red away from him and try to kill him, but just wasn't there, so I left without a fight. Once again, I noticed Scuttle Crab is up, so I'm going to go do that. At this point, we're looking to position for our first drag, but also I've been spending all my time mid and bot lane, so if I can get a speed boost, save me some time, or if a fight breaks out there, that gives me AD too, which is always a good thing. So here I wanted to get a gank off bot, but I didn't really have the angle. Turns out it was warded. I didn't know that during the game, of course, but I wanted to get the angle to push either Sivir or Braum back into my team, but it just wasn't there. So I decided to go back towards mid, try to pick up Lissandra. I was hoping that we could get her, and I don't remember if we do. Nope, doesn't look like we do. And unfortunately, Viger gets killed here, but I just play it safe, pick up some farm, and I hit level 6. Which is, like I said, very important on Hecarim. His ult is great for dueling if you use it correctly, but also it's really, really useful ganking tool. So you see here, I'm level 6. I'm just kind of, I don't think I want to fight Lysandra here, but I do want to get the farm. But then for some reason, you'll see in a second, she goes in on me. I didn't really figure out why, I never really figured out why. But as soon as I get out of my ult, I ult behind her, push her back into the tower, and pick up an easy kill. So I don't know what she was thinking when she tried to fight me. Maybe she thought she could burst me down while I was stunned. But even early on, Hecarim has a lot of health, and I was healing off of minions. I was under my tower, so not sure that was the greatest idea by Lysandra. But it really helped me out. It helped me get my warrior, which I otherwise would not have been able to afford. So I go back, get some health, get ready to go to red buff, and I'm looking for where my next gank can be. It looks like the bot lane's pushed up, but they're backing. Aurelia's around. We have a pink ward in our tribe bush, which is good because I know that it's not warded. But also I'm kind of concerned about ganking top because I don't want to give up drag. It's getting to be that time of game. Like, we already tried to position for one, but we couldn't get it. But I don't want to leave that area for too long. I don't want to show top for too long. You know, if we get off a quick gank, that's great, but I don't want to be, you know, messing around top for too long and give up the dragon. But I do decide to gank Aurelia because she looked like she was going to dive Sion. She didn't dive him, but we do end up kind of catching her. And, you know, I didn't ping it, but I said during this game I was duoed with the Morgana. I said, Sion's going to die. I don't know why he's doing this. He does have his passive. That's true. You know, he could pick up a kill or an assist, but I thought I could have taken her alone. He did a little bit of damage, and he could have left. He could have just left, and I would have killed her. It would have been fine. But he decided to continue the fight for whatever reason. He gets an assist, but he dies. It's not all that great to have a 2-in-1 Aurelia, but he is building straight tank, so any help I can get from him is good. I know that he's not going to do a bunch of damage in fights, but he's going to help me tank their front line. And then, as expected, they do go to the drag, and they get it, unfortunately. It was something I kind of expected. I knew that they were going to go try to do it when I ganked top, but I figured Sion needed some help, and I thought we could kill her without any consequences, but of course Sion dying signaled them to go to drag. So, but then another thing I notice here is Lysandra's really low. I don't know why she stuck around and tried to get those minions. My ult had just come back up recently, so I decided why not just dive in on her. She didn't have any mana, so she couldn't really fight me back. She didn't have any health. I had smite up, so I could smite her if I needed to. Just another easy kill that Lysandra gave me, which is going to help me get ahead. It's going to help me gank harder. It's going to help me tank more. So just another all-around helpful play from Lysandra, I guess. That's the best way to put that. And then I go back to my blue buff. I think I give this one to Vigor. I didn't really want to because he was 0-3. Actually, nope, looks like I don't give it to him. I pinged it, but he didn't come, so I just took it. He's 0-3. I'm kind of expecting him to die again. So giving him a blue buff is really just giving Lysandra or Shaco a blue buff, whichever one actually killed him. Whereas I'm 3-0, so getting me a blue buff is really helpful. I go back, pick up a Glacial Shroud. Shaco's 2-0, so he's doing a lot of AD. Sivir's 0-2, but she has a BF sword, so she kind of hurts. If I happen to have to fight Aurelia, she's going to do a lot of AD. And although it doesn't really help me against Lysandra, the CDR is helpful for ganks. I can get my ult up faster. I can Q more. And I can help clear the jungle quicker too. So I think Glacial Shroud is a very good all-around item on Hecarim. So now I'm looking again, where can I gank? Bot lane, there's no towers, and our support just died, so I can't really do anything here. Might as well head mid. Lysandra makes a nice play and escapes, but there wasn't a whole lot I had on the map available to me, so I figured, if I could force a flash or something, that'd be great. If not, I'll just go and do another camp. So I go into the Wolves. As you can see, Sion's getting beat pretty bad in farm, but like I said, he's building straight tank, so he's pretty close to a Frozen Heart, and I was confident he would be able to handle himself, so I didn't feel the need to go ahead and gank top. I wanted to gank mid again. Vigor kind of missed his stun, which was too bad. But Shaco came, so at the very least I wanted to scare them off. I didn't want him to die again. But also, if I had the chance, I would have ulted and seen if I could kill someone. As it turns out, though, with Shaco's clone up and we didn't see where the bot lane was, I didn't think it was a good idea. If I dive in and I don't kill someone immediately, then I'm in trouble. But Lissandra's still pretty low, so I was thinking about engaging, but then I realized how terrible of an idea that was. I saw the exhaust come down, so I just ulted defensively to get out. I hate ulting defensively on Hecarim, it just makes me feel bad, but there are times where it's just the best option, like dying, I'll be dead for a while, I won't be able to help my team in any way, I won't be able to ult during that time, so I just thought it was the best way to go about that. You know, I don't want to give Sivir any kills or Lissandra, so just get out of there. And then I decided to go top. The whole team's kind of rotating towards top because it's being pushed in, but Aurelia, she must have, or actually she saw Graves. She sensed it, she probably sensed it anyway. I mean, we were all mid, nobody's going bot. So I decided to sweep the tri-bush just to see if it was in fact warded, and it was. And then I head back to mid because it's clear that Aurelia knows we're coming, so there's no use in staying. And the other team's pushing in on our mid tower. I was hoping to get there in time to force a fight under our tower, but it went down quicker than I expected. So I decided just to turn around, do my red buff, and then see what's available after that. Towards the mid game, sometimes you don't have to smite the red buff, but I decided to this time just to make sure I was topped off on health. You know, I had two smite charges up, so it wasn't like I was denying myself anything. And I see the dragons coming up in 1 minute 20 seconds. So we're kind of in that positioning for dragon phase again. I don't know if either of the top laners' teleports were up, but Sion was pretty tanky at this point, and Aurelia's going to hurt. She's going to dive in. She's probably going to go for Vigor and kill him. I know that. But at this point, we want to make sure that we get that dragon. Losing the second dragon isn't important in that the other team gets a huge buff out of it. They get, like, tower damage, I think, which, I mean, it's nice, but it's not game-changing. But what is game-changing is you not getting the 6% AP and AD. Now, as you saw there, Lissandra ulted onto me. I figured it was the best decision to just get out, so I defensively ult again. I was actually going to go back, but then I realized, you know, I'm under a tower that's giving me a shield. I can pick up some more gold. Dragon's up in 20 seconds, so I kind of don't want to back and let them get a bunch of wards down. But at the same time, I am kind of low, so I go to do a camp. I was hoping that I could get a little bit more health than I did. I think I broke even on that. And then I saw Aurelia diving Sion. So even though Dragon's coming up, I don't want Sion to be 0-3, and I really don't want Aurelia to be 3-0. So I run up there, I smited Aurelia away from Sion. I'm not sure if he would have gotten the kill. It was really, really close. He was under 100 health. And again, I have another smite charge for when Dragon comes up. Killing Aurelia means that she can't teleport down to Dragon if we go for it. And then we saw Shaco running top to try to pick Sion off. So they don't have a smite. Their fed top laner isn't going to be around because she's dead. And everyone on our team, other than Sion, who does have a teleport, is available to do the dragon. So we decided to go in. We want to get that 6% AP and AD, which is very important. And even on Hecarim, it's nice to get the third one because the movement speed is vital on him. I'm not really sure what Braum was thinking there. He ran in by himself. Aurelia wasn't going to be there. He had no backup from Lissandra or Sivir. So we get a nice easy kill after drag. And then I go back because I haven't been back in a while, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick up my Iceborne Gauntlet here. We'll see in a second. Yep, Iceborne Gauntlet. So Iceborne Gauntlet's going to do a bunch of things. One, it's going to make it so that I can fight Sivir. Like, she's close to an IE at this point, but I will be able to fight her 1v1 because she won't be able to escape me, and I'll do a lot of extra damage because I have a Sheen now. It's going to protect me from Shaco, who's 3-0 and has a good amount of AD, and it's also going to protect me a little bit from Aurelia. She's still going to hurt. I don't want to fight her 1v1. In fact, depending on who my teammate is, I don't want to fight her 1v2. But at least she won't be able to burst me down before a fight starts. So we start going over to red, and a team fight breaks out. Sion goes down, unfortunately, but they used a couple of ults and a couple of summoners, so we decided to go back in. Lysandra escapes with just a sliver of health. But then I wanted to get a Q down on Braum right there so that I could auto-attack him and put that little slow cooldown. I wasn't sure what Sivir or Aurelia were thinking. I thought they might try to dive us under the tower, but I wanted to slow them down to dissuade them from doing that. And then we see Aurelia kind of collapsing on us, and I don't want to fight her at all. So I start to run away. They take the fight to the tower, so I kind of push Aurelia away. I thought that was the real Shaco for a second, but then I noticed he stopped moving. So I backed off of that. It would have been a great kill, but it just wasn't there. But then I see Sivir's all on a lonesome, so decide to ult in on that. I figured if we could take her out, we could really win the fight, and that's exactly what happened. We pushed her away. It forced Braum to try a desperation move. You know, he jumped in on her even though he had no health, so we killed him. We still killed Sivir. And now Aurelia jumps into a fight, but instead of being a 3v4, it's a 1v4. So we kill Aurelia, even though she was doing really well in this game. You know, you can't really fight 1v4, unless we were all really low, which we weren't. And she would probably have had to be a little bit more fed than she was. I mean, I was 6-0 at the time. Graves was 3-0. She really didn't have a chance. And then I decide to give this blue buff to Veigar, even though he's 1-4. His stuns are really helpful for me. His stuns help set up my ult better than most abilities in the game because it's going to catch 3 or 4 people, hopefully, if he does it right. And I can use that. I can decide which people I want to push towards our team and which people I want to push away and try to... I have about 2 seconds to make that decision and then execute it. So I put myself in between the people I want to go to my team and the people who I want to go away from my team. If I get behind the AD carry or something, it'll push them into a vulnerable position with no support. And I want to push people like Aurelia or Braum away. So I pick up red buff, and then I decide to go top. She had just taken the tower, but she pushed pretty hard to do it. And I have a red buff and an Iceborne Gauntlet, plus a smite, so I have a lot of slows on her. Veigar gets that stun down, and we pick up a kill. So it wasn't the greatest play because we gave up a lot of pressure mid and bot. I kind of wish Veigar hadn't been there. I wish he had been defending, but it was alright. We got a kill. I think it went to Sion, which is helpful. At this point, he's getting a lot of armor. And then I circle around mid. I was trying to get there in time to clean up. I didn't exactly do so, but I was able to get Braum. So, I mean, at least we got something. I don't know what happens to Veigar here. He turns gold. He didn't have Azonias. I don't know if that was a visual bug or what. I was really confused. I thought he used Zonias, but then he auto-attacked, so I was pretty confused. But then I want to go make sure that the minions don't do any damage to our tower. Also, I can pick up some gold. At this point, I'm really looking to find... I'm 7-0, so I'm looking to find Sivir and Lysandra and kill one of them. It's nice if I can kill Shaco, but it's really not the most important thing. At this point, I want to kill their AD carry or the person who's going to try to kill my AD carry. If Lysandra gets a good ult down onto Graves, then we're in trouble because our 3-in-1 AD carry with an IE and Yomu's isn't going to be there for the fight. So I want to make sure that I keep him protected by killing the 2 threats to him. I can't really take Aurelia, despite the fact that I'd love to. She was pretty strong in this game. So I pick up Home Guard and some CDR. That Kindle Gem will eventually build into a Spirit Visage just so that I have a little bit more resistance against Lysandra. She's ulted me a couple times, so I know she's not afraid to. But I want to make sure that every time she ults me, it's a wasted ult. Like, I don't want to get blown up instantly because that's real bad. That makes it very worth it for her to use her ult. So Veigar gets off a great 3-person ult here, but I just didn't think it was a good idea to engage on that. Our Sion wasn't there, our support wasn't there. And it's a good thing I didn't because I probably would have died. But as it stands, Graves kills Aurelia. So now Graves kills Aurelia. The one threat to me is gone. And I have Home Guard, so I'm going to run in as fast as I can. I actually Ghost. I got there a little bit later than would have been ideal, but it turns out to be okay because I ult right in, kill Braum. I smite Shaco because he's further away from me, so I want to lock him up. And then I go for Sivir. So smiting Shaco gives me movement speed and slows him down. I can use that movement speed to chase down Sivir because she's closer to my team anyway. So you'll see I do the same thing later on, and I'll point it out when I do. If you have 2 targets as Hecarim, you want to try to get the one furthest away from you first, because they have a chance of getting away. The one who's closer to you, they're already dead. If you do it right, they're already dead. You do AoE damage, and by catching the one in front of them, you will catch them too. So we get a couple kills, we take the second dragon, or our second dragon, the third dragon at the beginning. And at this point, I'm 10-0, so I'm really looking, I want to find someone and fight them. Every single chance I get, I want to find someone and fight them, except for Aurelia. That Frozen Heart and the Triforce, she has, nearing 200 farm. She's the one person, I could fight her and I wouldn't die, but I'm not going to kill her either. I'm going to have to run away eventually. So I take my wolves again. I don't really have anything to do. I don't see anyone on the other team. None of the lanes are pushing. But again, I don't want to smite it because I think it's kind of useless to do so. So I go back and pick up a Spirit Visage. This more or less makes me immune to Lissandra. She doesn't have a ton of damage. She has CDR, which is nice, but she's built, sort of conservatively. So I'm not afraid of being ulted by her anymore. My healing is going to be through the roof with my W and the Spirit Visage healing. So I'm looking to either find Lissandra or Sivir alone. That would be best case scenario, because I'll just kill them. I'll straight up just fight them and kill them. Or I'm looking to start a team fight. And Aurelia pushed pretty far, so I thought if we can engage onto her, it would, trigger them to fight. So we engage on Aurelia, we kill her, but unfortunately, Sivir and Shaco were far enough away that they didn't come too. If they had come, we would have killed them, but it didn't end up happening. So now we see Shaco is trying to split push. We all kind of rotated up there because a good Shaco can escape almost anything, so we wanted to make sure that he would have trouble getting away from Sion. And actually, for whatever reason, the other team started to chase us up there. I get ulted on by Lissandra, but like I said, I have so much resistance right now that I'm going to be okay. We see a teleport come in, but we killed Braum, so that's good. Sivir goes down to Graves, and then I start to back in this push. Aurelia takes a lot of damage, but I decided to go in, even though I was kind of low and afraid that she might kill me, because I thought she was going to kill Vigor. And I was just going to give the kill to Vigor to give him the AP, but his auto attacks were doing nothing, and he either didn't have the mana or everything was on cooldown, so I ended up taking that kill as well. So we rotated up to get Shaco. The other team took that as a cue to fight, but it wasn't going to work because Shaco wasn't there, Aurelia wasn't there, she had to teleport in, and it took her a long time. So it was really a 3v3, and me, Graves, and Morgana out damage and out tank at this point from Sivir and Lissandra. So Graves went down in that fight, but he did get a couple of kills, so he's building a little bit more defensively now. Sion, again, is just building really, really tanky, which was really beneficial to me because it allowed me to worry less about the team and more about Graves. At this point, I don't really think Vigor's going to be all that helpful to our team. He's 2-5. He has barely 120 CS. He does have a DFG, but there's no one he can really blow up. He can't blow up Lissandra because she doesn't have enough AP. He can't blow up Sivir because Sivir has a spell shield. Braum and Aurelia are too tanky, and chances are if he tries to kill Shaco, Shaco will either go invisible or bait him into ulting his clone. But we're looking for a fight here. Aurelia's split pushing, and Shaco was really trying to get a split push going this whole game. So we're trying to force a 3v4 here, but it's tough to do because they keep heading back to the tower. So we decided to kind of wander around and wait until something presents itself. We didn't want to let Shaco get too far, though. At this point, we're ahead in the game, we're winning. So we don't want to give them an opportunity to do something like drag or sneak a Baron, or while we're trying to force a team fight mid or get a dragon, we don't want to give up an inhibitor tower. Inhibitor towers they don't come back, obviously, and they're really important to the team. So I don't know why, but for whatever reason in this fight, I want to explain what's going on here. I thought Vigor was with us, Me and, like I said, me and Morgana are on Skype together. We're duoed. So I was talking to him. I was like, all right, Shaco's bot. Graves can take him if he needs to. Scion's top. So I really want to force a fight because, like I said, for whatever reason, I thought Vigo was with us the whole time. But then he told me, no, he's not here. So I decided not to, and it's a good thing because Aurelia was showing up too, and I thought she was top with Scion. I guess I had terrible map awareness at that point, but I got talked out of forcing the fight, so that was good. So Scion's pushing top, but Shaco's pushing bot, so the map pressure is basically the same. We don't gain anything here. And at this point, the same exact thing happens, where I thought Vigo was with us. He will end up leaving to go to try to kill Shaco for whatever reason, which isn't going to happen. If Shaco knows what he's doing, he's going to deceive away from the stun or whatever. So I go in, I'm trying to force a fight, because I thought Vigo was with us, but I was wrong. Apparently that turned gold. I end up getting out. I have to ult defensively, but Sivir ulted, Lissandra ulted, Lissandra ignited, and although I baited our Morgana into dying really, really badly, that's going to cripple them for the next fight. That's a lot of cooldowns that they're not going to have. And our team is now, thankfully, since Vigor came back, our team is now positioned in a good spot for a fight. Scion comes back after trying to split push. Aurelia stopped him. But then they start to dive Vigor for some reason, and it was right when I was coming back with Home Guard. So Scion ults in. He misses, unfortunately, but that's to be expected. Sion's ult is really tough to kill. It is really tough to hit. But we force them to split up, and they're all kind of discombobulated. So unfortunately, although Vigor is going to take a ton of damage and die almost instantly, we force them into an odd man fight where they don't have Lissandra or Shaco. So we're able to take down Aurelia, which is really important because she's the one threat on their team. And then this is that point where I go for the furthest one away. I get Lissandra, I dash to her, because getting myself there is going to allow me to kill Braum in just a second. So get the one who's far away because they have a chance of escaping. Hecarim's fast, he does AoE damage, he slows people if you buy an Iceborne Gauntlet, so the only chance that a person has of getting away is if you don't do anything to them. But if you chase down the furthest person away, all of your AoE and your slows, they're going to apply to the person who's also running away. Unless they change direction, but if they change direction, you can cover ground faster than they can. So we kill 3 people. We decide to go to Baron. Don't know if that really needs an explanation. We had them in a position where their jungler wasn't going to be there. Their one main damage threat was gone. So we kind of forced their hand. Sivir tried to stall us by showing up, but me and Graves decided no matter what, we're just going to do Baron. Scion and Morgana can go deal with Sivir, and they were able to kill her. We really just were looking to zone them out, but they were able to kill her, so that was even better than we expected. And as soon as we get Baron, we want to go get, I believe this is the 3rd dragon. I did tell Graves it was kind of risky to do that because it was low, and I thought Shaco might show up and try to kill him. Turns out he did, and he actually outsmited me too, so it was a good play by Shaco, I have to admit. But I kill him, and then I see Aurelia show up. I kind of want to help Vigor, but I know that I can't. When it comes down to it, if I go in on Aurelia, then we're both going to die. So I decide, instead of losing 3 Barons, let's get away with losing 2. Graves died, Vigor died, but we still have 3 Barons. We just picked, actually we didn't pick the dragon, which was really bad. I kind of knew Shaco was coming, so I should have, either told Graves to back or waited for another teammate to show up before we tried that. So at 16-0, all I really have to do is exist in a fight, and I'm going to be a problem. Sivir can't really do a whole lot of damage to me. Shaco can't do a whole lot of damage to me. Lissandra can ult me, but if she ults me, then that's fine because Graves and Vigor didn't get ulted. I can tank towers for a good amount of time because I have a lot of armor. So we just decided to push down mid. We have super minions. We have me with a Sheen doing a lot of damage to the tower. Or not super minions, we have Baron minions. But then this is the biggest mistake that I made of the game was I went a little bit too deep on Sivir. I tried smiting her and the gate wall or the base gate, whatever you want to call it, allowed her to escape. So I end up dying. Not a great play by me. We get a tower. We force a couple of ults, but that was... I should have exercised better judgment on that. Veigar goes down, but he did a lot of damage. So it's kind of looking like we'll be able to turn this fight around. And we have a pink ward, so Shaco can't sneak up on Graves. Graves does a great job of kiting and killing Shaco. And at this point, Sion's so tanky, he's very, very difficult to kill. So if he can just put himself between Aurelia and Graves, then we're going to do fine in the fight. So the fight drags on for a lot longer than we were expecting it to, but it turned out to be fine. I have home guard and I'm running in, Morgana's running in, so we're thinking if they keep this fight up, even though they killed Sion, that's going to be good for us. Sion's passive allows him to kill Aurelia. I ult in onto Sivir again. She spell shields it, but it doesn't really matter. Once I get onto her, she's not going to escape. I have a slow with Iceborne Gauntlet. I can smite her for a slow. I have a ton of armor, so she can't fight me. She'll die. If she hits me enough, she'll just die through Thornmail. So now that we've gotten a couple of those threats down, we decide to go for the mid tower. And I decide that I'm just going to tank it because I don't want to wait for their Aurelia to spawn. Unfortunately, the same thing happens to Graves that happened to him at Drag, where Shaco pops up out of nowhere and kills him. But we got half the tower down, and we did kill Shaco. Not the best of trades, but it could have been worse. And so now we're looking around the map. Top's going to push for us. There's a big wave. Veigar's taking care of bot. Graves will be up soon. I'm 18-1, so I really have no excuse to die anymore. I just picked up a GA. So if I jump into a fight, even if they blow every single ult on me, they're not going to kill me. The best that they could possibly do, if they blew everything on me, is get my GA. And if they do that, then our team's going to win the fight afterwards. So I'm fine with that. I'm just going to run in. I'm going to be as big a disruption as I can. I'll kill people if I can, but my main goal is to just force them to, work around me. So I get some gold, and I end up, the reason I did that and then backed immediately was to pick up an elixir. So the reason I kind of stall here is because I'm talking to Morgana. I'm trying to figure out which elixir do I want to get. I'm doing a ton of damage, so the Wrath one seemed like a good option at first. But I decided to go with Iron because it gives me more tenacity. Not that I necessarily need tenacity. It gives me more health, but also, you see there's a trail behind me that kind of glitters. That speeds up allies, and for the most part, all these team fights have been me ghosting, using my E, and then ulting to get way in. And then, even though it turned out fine, like I wasn't dying, my team is way behind me. But if I'm running around with the Wrath on, I leave a trail that speeds them up so they can get back into the fight quicker. I see Sivir used her spell shield when she was trying to get away from Sion, so I know anytime I feel like ulting, I will hit her. She won't be able to spell shield it. Lysandra does kind of a desperation initiation. It doesn't really work. Even if she didn't do that, we were going to force a team fight, so it's not like she made a bad play. But she comes in, and actually, initially it looked like it was a good fight for them, but me and Sion are ridiculously tanky at this point, and we got a lot more damage down onto them than they would have liked. So Sivir had to leave. We were able to kill Lysandra, and then Braum and Aurelia took the fight to me and Sion, but neither me or Sion was going to be easy to kill. We both had, I think, over 300 armor. I had 3,000 health. He had like 4,500 health. I had a GA, even if Lysandra had somehow figured out a way to kill me initially. So I was going to come back. There was no way they were going to win that fight. They definitely should have just ran away, and it would have been okay, but instead they took the fight to us, and we won it. So me and Veigar go to drag while Sion goes top to clear the farm. Unfortunately, though, we see with a couple of wards Lysandra and Sivir coming down, so we know we can't finish it. We don't necessarily know where Shaco is once he spawns. We know he can't get to drag immediately, but we know that he can get there pretty quick. He had Home Guard, I believe he had home guard before, so we actually knew that he had home guard. And to see if he can get through walls, he can show up when we don't expect it. So we decided it would be best to just give up the dragon. It would have been nice to take, but it wasn't worth the risk. So we go back. We decide we're going to heal up. Baron's coming up in a second, so we'll just force a fight around that. We'll kill them or get Baron, and then we'll win the game off of that. So I see Sivir's recalling. I wanted to force her to not recall, because whatever she's going back for, I don't want her to get it. If she doesn't get it, then she can't use it for the Baron fight that we're about to force. And it also keeps her split from her teammates, which allowed my teammates to kill Lysandra. Sivir, Aurelia, and Lysandra are the 3 damage dealers, so if we can keep any of them out of it, it's good for us. And then Morgana goes in, she sacrificed herself there for a great ult, and then it turns out that they didn't kill her. So he said, you know, over Skype, he was like, I'm just going to go in, I'm going to ult, whatever happens, happens, and it turned into a great initiation. For some reason they didn't finish him, not that it would have mattered. If they had killed him, we just would have had 1 person dead, but our main damage carries and our 2 tanks were still healthy, so off of that big team fight, which was a great initiation, we decided that we're just going to go ahead, take the towers, and win the game. So hopefully you like this video. I tried to cover, you know, what I was thinking with my gank paths and everything. If there were any questions that you guys have, feel free to let me know. I did this in one take, you know, as the video was playing, so I didn't prepare for it at all. There were probably some better things that I could have covered. But hopefully this was a useful video for you. So thanks, and see you next time.